Hey everyone, so welcome to this video, and in this video we'll see the implementation of graph data structure. Okay, so in the previous video we have discussed about undirected graph and directed graph, right? So in this video I'll show you how you can implement these two graphs using C++, right? So let me open my editor. Alright, so first I'll import C++ library, which is bits stdc++.h, and then using namespace standard. Okay, so for building the graph I'll use vector. So vector is nothing but it's like an array and is dynamic. Okay, so dynamic means we can increase or decrease the size of vector at runtime. So these are the index values 0 1 2 3, then we have 4 5 and 6. Okay, so we can have multiple types of vector. We have 1D vector, then 2D vector, and we have vector of arrays. So we will use vector of arrays for creating this graph. So in case of vector of arrays, each cell of this vector behave like an array. Okay, so this is array for cell number 0, this is for cell number 1, similarly for cell number 2, right, 3 4 5 and 6. So it is similar to the 2D matrix. And since it is an array, so this is static. Okay, we cannot increase or decrease this size, but this is dynamic. Okay, so let me create a vector here, vector of integer, and here we need to give the name of vector, which is g, and max. So max is the size of this array. Okay, this is max. So let me define max here, let's say 100. Okay, now I'll create main function. So here we need to create two functions. The first one is for adding the edge. So let's say this is node number 1, and here we have node number 2. So we need to establish some kind of connection between these two nodes, right? So this function will do that, and the second function is for printing this whole graph. So let me create those function, void add edge, and the second function is for printing, print graph, right? Also, so for this function, for add edge function, we need to pass some kind of parameters. Let's say we want to create an edge between 0 and 1. Okay, so we need to pass 0 and 1 to the function. So we have two parameters here. Let's say u is the first parameter and v is the second parameter. Okay, so let's say we need to make a connection between 0 and 2. Okay, so in this vector what we can do, we can push 2 in the 0th cell and 0 in the second cell. Okay, so it is a bi-directional graph. So this is the first connection and this is the second connection. So here you can see that this is connection 1 and this is connection 2. So let's say you want to create some edge between 0 and 3, right? So what you can do is you can push 3 here. So this is the first connection, and you can push 0 here. This is the second connection, right? So here is the first one and here is the second one. So this is how we can create edge between two nodes. So, and I'll use pushback method for pushing these elements. Okay, So g of u dot pushback v, and similarly g of v dot pushback u. Okay, so this is how we can create edge between two nodes. Now we just need to call this function. So here we have 5 vertices, 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and we have 7 edges. Okay, so we need to call this function 7 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So the first one is 0 and 1 and 0 and 4. So 0, 1 and 0, 4. Since it is an undirected graph, then order doesn't matter. Okay, you can write 0, 1 or 1, 0. Okay, then we have 1, 4 and 1, 3. 1, 4 and 1, 3. After that 4, 3, 2, 3 and 2, 1. Okay, 4, 3, 2, 3 and 2, 1. So it is completed. Now we just have to print this graph, and for printing we need the number of vertices in this graph. So we have 5 vertices, so I'll call print graph function here and I'll pass 5. So it is actually a 2D matrix, so we need to traverse this whole matrix, and for that we will use nested for loops. Okay, so for I is equal to 0, and let me pass this parameter v, I smaller than v, and then I plus plus, and here I'll use for each loop auto it g of I. Okay, and we just need to print out the nodes. So I'll print I first, then space, then it, and handle is for new line. Okay, so let me run this. So here you can see that each edge of this graph got printed 2 times. So this is 0, 1, and here we have 1, 0. For 0, 4 we have 4, 0. Okay, so what we can do, we can create a visited matrix. So visited matrix, and we'll initialize this matrix with 0. Okay, so let's say we have node number 3 and is connected to node number 2. Okay, so let's say we are visiting 3 for the first time. So what we can do, we can mark visited matrix of 3 comma 2, 3 comma 2, okay, as 1, and 2 comma 3 is also 1, 2 comma 3. So it means that these nodes are visited. Okay, because since it is a bidirectional graph, so here we need to mark this for 2 times, right? So let me do that. Visited of I, and it is 1. Also it and I is 1. Okay, and let's say if the condition is true, visited of I and it, so we will continue. Okay, now let me run this. Just a second. So you can see this is the output. Okay, this is our graph, and here is the output. So we have 0 1 0 4 0 1, then 0 4 1 4. Okay, so this is how you can print undirected graph. Okay, and for directed graph you just need to comment out this. Okay, and if I run this, it will give the same result. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you.